Then what's the point of having an intelligence apparatus if they don't share the information?
The intelligence apparatus?
That's how it's acted upon, is when they get a directive from a higher source, which, you know, for better or worse, is a politician.
Theoretically, the Congress regulates the intelligence community.
Yeah.
In reality, it's the other way around. They have so much information on members of Congress and on their enemies, they know exactly how to get their budgets increased.
I mean, that's how J. Edgar Hoover held on to power for as long as he did.
The very same Nunes who said, I don't trust the FBI, I don't trust the DOJ with FISA, voted to expand FISA authorities and to give more authority to the very human beings who he says are untrustworthy.
Yeah.
Why? Because of the power that the intelligence community has, which spies on everybody all the time without a warrant. We don't need that. That's Stasi-like.
Welcome back. President Trump refused to declassify the Democratic memo that was meant to counter GOP allegations about the FBI's conduct in the Russia probe. He explained his decision in a tweet saying, quote, the Democrats sent a very political and long response memo, which they knew, because of sources and methods and more, would have to be heavily redacted, whereupon they would blame the White House for lack of transparency. Told them to redo and send back in proper form. The news did not sit well with Democratic carnival barker Adam Schiff, who accused the president of blocking the memo because it refutes his claims of vindication in the Russia probe. Schiff has since vowed to work with the FBI to redact the necessary information. So is the president right to accuse Democrats of setting a trap? Let me ask Fox News senior judicial analyst Judge Andrew Napolitano returns. Please shed some light on this enormous.
Well, it's difficult to analyze a document that we haven't seen.
Yeah.
Now, the president's people could have redacted, could have blacked out the material they didn't want us to see, but then he would be accused of censorship. So he basically sent it back to the Democrats on the committee saying, here's my objections, you know, come to some middle ground or compromise or get rid of enough of it to satisfy me. Of course, when the Republican version came out, and the FBI and the DOJ begged Congressman Nunes and then the White House to redact just 3 words, which revealed a source and a method, they declined to do so. Now, you got to read between the lines to see what this stuff is. The 3 words in the Republican memo was, after Chris Steele's name, comma, a longtime FBI source, close comma. What's wrong with that? He was a British spy for MI6. The British and the Americans have an agreement not to recruit each other's spies. The FBI obviously recruited him, either didn't want the British to know it or didn't want the public to know it. So they have a big headache on their hands. Point is, neither the president nor Congressman Nunes would take out those 3 words, which wouldn't have undercut their theory at all. But I have been arguing.
I mean, that's problematic to me, though. I have to be honest with you. The idea that you're not supposed to be doing something, so don't do it. If you know that his work is being paid for by, you know, one of the most politically contentious presidential races we've ever had, and one of the people running for president and their party, then, you know, that shouldn't equal a partnership with the FBI.
I don't know why the FBI bothered presenting that dossier, whether they verified it or not, to the FISA court. Because the FISA standard for surveillance, which in your view and my view is patently unconstitutional, because it's the Congress attempting to rewrite the Fourth Amendment. Fourth Amendment says probable cause of crime for surveillance. FISA says probable cause of speaking to a foreign agent. Carter Page, who was known to be an advisor to President Trump, publicly acknowledged he was also an advisor to the Kremlin. Whether that's true or not, it's sufficient to get a FISA surveillance warrant without submitting the dossier. Why the FBI didn't do it that way, I don't know.
Well, I hope we learn more about the application process.
Well, here's the danger. Here's why we're in dangerous waters, Kennedy, because for the first time in the modern era, post-1947, after the creation of the CIA and the surveillance state in which we all live now, we have seen politicians use their top security clearances to cherry-pick information from raw intelligence data and use it for a political narrative. We've seen the Republicans do it. We're talking about the Democrats doing it. That's going to increase pressure to produce the raw data to see who is lying and who's exaggerating. If that data is produced, you will see the intelligence community go berserk over this, because their work has never been subject to the public microscope.
I think it deserves some scrutiny. I think it deserves scrutiny, the likes of which we haven't seen. And I think that transparency is the best way to keep curious actors honest.
I agree with you, but the practical effect of this will be the intelligence community will not share their secrets with politicians who will reveal it for political gain. And that we've never seen happen before. That's why we're in very dangerous waters now.
Then what's the point of having an intelligence apparatus if they don't share the information?
The intelligence apparatus?
That's how it's acted upon is when they get a directive from a higher source, which, you know, for better or worse, is a politician.
Theoretically, the Congress regulates the intelligence community.
Yeah.
In reality, it's the other way around. They have so much information on members of Congress and on their enemies, they know exactly how to get their budgets increased.
I mean, that's how J. Edgar Hoover held on to power for as long as he did.
The very same Nunes who said, I don't trust the FBI, I don't trust the DOJ with FISA, voted to expand FISA authorities and to give more authority to the very human beings who he says are untrustworthy.
Yeah.
Why? Because of the power that the intelligence community has, which spies on everybody all the time without a warrant. We don't need that. That's Stasi-like.
Yeah, and
that's why this stuff is so dangerous.
And I'm sorry, I have a natural distrust for politicians like that because they want to have it both ways.
Correct.
And you can't, because at some point, something is compromised, either freedom or their integrity, but the end result is dire.
The very politicians who have exposed excesses of FISA have been FISA's biggest enablers.
Yeah.
Period.
They know too much. And when they find something that finally rubs them the wrong way, they can come to us whining about a rash. I always appreciate your rationality, Judge.
Thank you very much.
Beautifully done. Coming up.